Alrighty, folks. Hello. I don't know if our clock at the store is slowly dying or we just never set it properly in the first place, but that clock says I'm only 3 minutes late. Not 7. So, hello everybody. I want to put the phone somewhere so that when it rings, it's not super loud. Alrighty, hello. Hi. I hope you guys are having a fabulous day. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in a long time. Yeah, my phone says 2:07 also. But the clock up there does not. And it's a Kimberbell clock. So it's on sewing time. Okay, so you guys are jumping on. Perfect. Announcements. Well, starting tomorrow, it's all about our anniversary event. We are setting up and getting ready for you that are joining us. And then we will see you all on Thursday and Friday if you are coming in. And even if you're not attending, we still have our little shop in that lobby area. So come on in, see all the fun things, and say hi, and we would love to see you. So, and then I really don't know at this point anything but anniversary right now. So I know we have Baby Lock Club in there somewhere at the end of the month. Yeah, sorry guys. My brain is in like 17 different spots right now. So, but other than that, we do have today's project, which of course I left my sample over there, all the way across the other side of the store. But we are working on the November Count On It project. So, this is cute. It's got some fall leaves on it and, an acorn. And so we are working on that today. I did get a little bit of a jump in Head Start, just because I'm doing blanket stitch for pretty much the whole thing. There were a couple things that I was going to utilize for embellishing, so that's what I wanted to do with you guys today. But, and I still have a couple of my pieces to fuse down and sew on as well. So, we will get on that. Okay, so let's turn y'all around. Okay, I am on our anthem today. Rosie, you have no idea. And let's see, can I like tilt you? Maybe. There we go. Tighten this little guy. I think I grabbed a different tripod than I normally use. So, all right. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so I will start off by saying I laid down my branch first, and then I placed all of my leaves and everything after the fact. The branch, because we have so many little sections here that are super skinny, I did change our blanket stitch to 2.5 and 2.5 in length and width. Normally I would do 3 and 3 when I'm doing my normal blanket stitch everywhere else, like I did on the leaves here. But just because there's so many little skinny spots and things like that, I went down to 2.5 and 2.5 in length and width. So I wanted to mention that. Then again, for the leaves, I went back to my 3 and 3. Okay. And then, I am ready to do, let's do our next leaf here. So I'm going to change my thread to a green. And we'll go around that. But instead of just going around, I wanted to put some little veins. Do leaves have veins? That's the word I want to use because that's what it looks like to me. But all of a sudden now I don't know how to talk or do anything, you know? Okay, so I feel like I'm really close to the camera, but really far from the machine. So if is the kit at your store? The kit for what, Mary? So if it feels like I'm yelling, I am sorry. So I do still have my length and width at 3 and 3. And I am just going slowly around these curves. For whatever reason, I can do like inside curves way better than I can do outside curves. And this for me is an outside curve, but this would be an inside curve for me. So sorry. Mary, yes. So we do have kits. They are $8.99. You would need the Count on It book by Art to Heart in order to get the shapes and things that you need for this project. And we have that at the store here as well. This is part of a 12 project series that we have been working on. And we're almost done, you guys. I backed myself up into a corner. Here we go. I know you guys have heard me talk about it multiple times, but when you're doing your blanket stitch, really try to pay attention to the sequence that the needle moves in, so that way when you get yourself backed into a corner that way, you're kind of able to map it out and figure out how to maneuver around, so that way you don't have like a random eyelash stitch that's just hanging off of the middle of nowhere or something like that. All right, Mary, no worries. I will get you a kit and the book. Just a few more curves here for our leaf. So for me, there's multiple blanket stitch options, especially on, well, I think on most machines, to be honest. The one I'm currently using is from the quilting menu and stitch number 14, and that is going to be from most of the baby locks, the ones that have that quilting folder. I'm pretty sure it's the same stitch. From like the Solaris to the Radiance to the Anthem to the Chorus. I don't know if it would translate the same to brother machines or not. And then I pretty much always change the dimensions of the stitch to 3 and 3, except for certain occasions, which our branch was a certain occasion. Again, I did change that to 2.5 and 2.5, just because it's a really skinny piece, and leaving it at 3 I felt would probably take up the whole piece. I do also want to say I did use an 80 weight thread as well. That way it didn't make the stitching too like heavy. Are you supposed to do that? I don't know. But I like how it looked. Thank you, Nancy. Okay, so each of my leaves have the blanket stitch on. I'm going to change. So right now I'm in the quilting menu for my stitch selection. Okay, I do have the Q menu turned on. Thanks, Val. I'm so over them right now, to be quite honest. I'm going to go back up here to my utility stitch menu, and I'm going to select stitch number 5, which is just a triple stitch. And I'm leaving it in the default size, which is 2.5 in length, and it's a straight stitch, so obviously there's no width. But I'm going to take my Frixion pen and I'm going to kind of just draw, because I cannot willy-nilly without a plan these veins or whatever they are. And so I'm just drawing some lines in here that I can follow. And stitch right onto. So my sample, which maybe I can beg Mo to go grab for me. But my sample, I did the same color that I did my blanket stitch in, and I kind of didn't like it. So this time I'm going to change to a brown and do that for all of mine and see if I like that any better. I'm not quite sure I will, but this is when we find these things out, right? I find these things out so that you guys don't have to find these things out. You guys can just make that straight decision. Okay, so it is a left needle position stitch, so I am lining it up on the left side. You can use this with your J-foot, but right now I'm using the open toe foot while I do my blanket stitch, just so I have better visibility as I'm stitching. So I'm just going to leave it on, the foot on, and utilize that left red notch for needle placement here. And I'm just going to follow down this, my drawn line, which you guys probably cannot see, considering I used orange on a green fabric. Okay, and then I'm going to pivot and turn to go up this little vein here. All right, find another end and come on in. Mo. She's not listening to me. She's busy working. I have really found that I cannot handle it if it has the little hairs from the thread. I just don't like it. I don't. All right, next. Thanks, Lori. I like this one. Ooh. Went a smidge too far. Oops. All right, so there is our green leaf that has the veins through it. It's a little bit, it's still subtle, not very noticeable, but texturally I love it. But I also I think I like it, at least this one with the brown, so that I can see it a little bit more. I think it just blended too much when I used the same color. Okay, so let's come over here and draw our line for our orange. All right. At least you guys should be able to see this one a little bit better. So let's go ahead and do the veins in our yellow leaf. And this stitch will be done. And I am by no means trying to make any of this perfect. In the drawing aspect, at least. I think I just get like confused as to like where the thread is coming from. Who knows? Maybe I'm just going nuts. Oops. Wrong button. So I think I kind of like it with the brown. Okay, so there are our leaves. Okay, while I have brown on, I'm going to switch back to my blanket stitch, change my width to 3 and my length to 3, and I'm going to go around the upper portion of our acorn here, the cap or whatever it's called. My anatomy of plants is just not, plants and nuts and things are not up to par apparently. You know, they told us in school that you'd need some of this knowledge, but nobody believed it, you know? So. Okay, I am going to change to a lighter color to do the bottom of our little acorn friend. Nancy, you're such a sweetheart. And still doing the blanket stitch, still leaving it at that same measurement. Okay, so all of these pieces are put down, so let's put our letters on. So we've got our N, which is a really skinny piece, so I'm going to try and score it as opposed to ripping it like I would normally. Ooh. Alrighty, so I have them going down the left side here. I'm going to just temporarily plop him in place because I kind of banked everything on the placement of the O. So I will tell you guys, because you guys have been struggling along with me, this Steam of Seam and I are getting along together very well lately. Sure. All right, so I'm gonna fix my N placement here. Okay, and then we'll put the V down. Is there any advantage to use applique foot? So the applique foot is actually a great foot, and I don't know why I never remember to use it. It's a shorter foot, so it's not as long, and therefore it's kind of easier to go around curves and things. I can't find my tear. And we are a mere, what's the date today? The 14th, so 20. No, we're less than 20 days out now. November 1st is the date. So coming up very soon. Okay, how does that look? Okay. I think this guy needs to move a little bit. So this is why I like Steam a Seam, is because I can keep moving it, but I can stick it at the same time. Unlike Heat and Bond, you can't necessarily, it doesn't stick down and become like repositionable. I don't know why I'm not liking it. And I feel like I keep putting it in the same dang spot. Thank you, Barb. Yes, it is very exciting. But I think I have officially entered my stress period. Okay. Sorry, probably information overload. Okay, I'm going to apply some heat to these just so that they will now stay down. Oops. Oh, shucks. Okay, so just using the iron to activate that glue so that we can stitch these down now. Okay, so going to change my thread to a color to do our N. All right. So this end is still kind of in that same situation of the branch. It does get kind of skinny. However, I don't think I would like it if I did the N in smaller blanket stitch and then the O in a different and then V like, so I'm just going to change everything to the 2.5 and stitch all 3 with the same one. Just because I get OCD like that. I haven't really done much of the multi on the anthem at least, but I have done it on the chorus, and I would assume that they work the same way. And I love that function the most when I'm doing attaching handles to a bag. Oh, shoot. All right, our N has an alfalfa hair. Okay, so we've got the N, then changing to a green so we can work on the O. Yes, Sarah, that's a great time for that type of stitch. For sure. Right. One last letter. Can't remember what color I use now. I'll go with this one. And then I will take you over to my sample so that I can show you some things that I learned from. And there we have it. There is our November. Count on it. Kind of like it. Okay, so let's take this over to our sample. Because I did do some changes with this one. Ooh, hopefully that's not making anybody like nauseated. I can't speak today. Okay, so I will say, again, I did a larger stitch in the stem before. Actually, I even forgot to change the dimension of my stitch when I started doing the stem. So definitely don't like 3.5. But using a smaller stitch, I really do feel like it just looks cleaner. And I did use a lighter thread too, so that's a big difference. It almost looks like two different fabrics, but they are the same. Okay, so 2.5 on this side, and this side was the default, which I think is 3.5 in width and 2.5 in length. So definitely need to change that up. Then secondly, making sure that you remember to change your thread or your stitch dimensions, because I did that twice in this project of forgetting. So don't do that. And then here, so like here is where I did the green and then the green veins. And then here is where I did green, but then the brown. I don't know, maybe you still can't really see it as much. But I mean, it definitely makes a difference in like the orange. And I think I like how it pops a little bit more with the brown on this one than it did with the orange, and then definitely with the yellow. I don't know, I think I just found a color that was too matchy because usually I am a blender. I don't normally like do the contrast stuff very much, but I did definitely like this one. Okay, but other than that, and then I did, so again so this is my first one, and I don't know what that just happened. But on this one, I did a too close of a color, so it doesn't really make the V stand out like it does here. And you kind of lose it. Okay, so then I did the darker color on the V and the darker color on the N. So I liked that a little bit more. Alrighty, folks. Well, thank you so much. And if you are going to be at the anniversary event this week, then we will see you there. And if not, again, just stop by just to say hi. But other than that, I will see you guys next Tuesday on live. Alrighty, folks. Thanks so much. Alrighty, bye-bye.